The Sustainable School Garden project is part of a larger unit of work that educators can continue to revisit throughout the school year and in years following. The learning task is continuous and flexible as a garden builds and grows, which allows students to lead their own inquiry. The following slides discuss the different possible stages in the garden and has considered the volatility of teaching at a remote school where student attendance is variable and learning outcomes are achieved at different times by each student as they make meaningful connections to the curriculum content. Subsequently, this presentation shows the learning task across 3 different stages rather than in set lessons and offers educators rough plans for each stage of the sustainable garden. The first stage of this project demonstrates another aspect of Aboriginal pedagogy through reconstructing and deconstructing. This is done through the facilitation of an excursion to country, where students observe native bush foods and medicines in the natural environment before planting them. In order to remember the important information shared by elders on the excursion, the educator can then guide students into making a song about their observations. This can be made even more engaging by giving students the choice of a popular pop song and changing the lyrics. The first stage is most overtly involved with the literacy and science learning outcomes, as students learn about living organisms through interacting with respected community members and their peers. The middle stage involves students making decisions about the construction of their school garden. Here, students will utilise measurement materials and demonstrate their understanding of familiar metric units by drawing a draft plan of the garden. Following the explicit instruction strategy, students will do this with their peers and teacher. This stage of the Sustainable Garden project involves kinesthetic interaction with students' conceptual understandings developed in the previous lessons. Here the students are able to put their plans into action and plant the native bush foods into the garden, keeping in mind what plants need to grow. The middle stage has many literacy and numeracy opportunities as students develop their verbal communication skills when planning and measuring out the garden. For example, students could be given the opportunity to advocate for their garden plan, articulating with scientific knowledges where their placement is best. The teaching learning strategies used throughout are primarily rooted in bidialectal education and explicit teaching. Further, the strategies are influenced by a whole school approach as the garden is accessible to all students in different capacities, offering many cross-curriculum learning opportunities of different year levels. Another overarching strategy to this learning task is the valuing and privileging of Aboriginal knowledges so that students know that their cultures and knowledges are valuable in the classroom environment.